Let's configure the language learning agent that we will be using throughout this module. In this lesson, we will take a practical look at how to configure the agent for this language learning use case, and also how to run this agent using a command here in our testing ground. But before we start seeing this in practice, I want to take a quick moment to talk about the V6 agent framework. So this is a framework that is designed to help you create the most basic version of an agent and then have a clear pathway to improve this agent by adding new functionalities in these 6 different versions of an agent. We will start by creating an agent that is here in version 1 because it's going to have just a system prompt. And then we are going to start improving this agent by adding some specific knowledge to it. This means that in this lesson, we will cover V1 and V2 of this V6 agent framework. Now let's get to it. And just as a final super important reminder, here we have the configure node again, so that you make sure that you have chosen a specific language and substituted the name of this node for the language that you would like to learn. So as I said, in my case, I'm going to remove this text of chosen language and I'm going to type in Italian, because this is the language that I will personally be learning using the language learning agent. So from here, we can move on to the basic configuration of this language tutor agent. Here you will see the agent node and the command node used to run this specific agent. And here, this command node is associated with our testing ground. So let's first take a look at this agent. When we expand an agent, you will see that we have specific parameters inside agents as well. And these parameters are going to define and configure how this specific agent is going to behave. And the most important field, the most important parameter here is the system prompt. This is the place where we will describe what this agent does and how it should interact with us. And this is this version 1 where we are just adding a system prompt. So let's take a look at what this language tutor agent is designed to do. In this case, we are explaining to this agent that it is a dedicated, patient, and methodical Italian language tutor. And here is that first example of how the variable that we are configuring here in the chosen language is going to be interpreted by this agent, which means that if I change this language to another language, this change is going to be reflected in our agent. So let's take a quick look. Let's change this to Spanish real quick. And now you will see that the configuration for this agent has changed from Italian to Spanish. This is a very interesting possibility when configuring your agents as well. Let's get back to Italian here and let's keep going. So the basic objective here is to teach Italian from scratch to the user who is an absolute beginner starting from English. And here we have added a couple of instructions that are going to be useful for this role of being a language tutor. And this is still just the system prompt. And here you will see information about the style and the tone, teaching strategy, error correction, and the specific format that we want this agent to use. So these first 3 items are mostly related to this objective of learning a new language, which includes the style and the tone, of being clear and concise, of being supportive, The teaching strategy includes using step-by-step explanations, using transliterations as well, which can be quite useful. And this format response is mainly indicating how the Tana indentation works, so that when we interact with this agent, it's going to follow the correct format of outputs. So this is a basic system prompt, which means we have covered this version 1 of our framework. And before we run this tutor and understand how this works, I want to mention that we have also added specific knowledge to this agent. Because here in the bottom, you will see that we have a list of best practices for this agent. So we want to guide this agent to become a better teacher, a better tutor. And for this, we have brought in specific knowledge about language learning and teaching a new language. And this is being done using this best practice super tag and a search node inside the system prompt with all of these best practices. So here we are using some common best practices, such as to utilize spaced repetition, to utilize transliteration, and some other useful best practices. So this is now version 1 and version 2 of this agent framework, and now we are ready to see this in action. So in order to call this specific agent, we are using the start AI chat command. And here we can open the configuration to see that everything we have specified is that the agent is this language tutor version 1 and that the target node is this testing ground for lesson 1. So let's open up this node and let's run this to see this in action. So when we call this agent, you will see that we open up a chat window on the right where we can talk to this agent and use it to actually learn a new language. So here you can see it's greeting us and it's asking, what would you like to learn more about today? And from here, we haven't specified an initial prompt, which means it doesn't generate any output straight away. We are the ones who will initiate this conversation. So let's say that, for example, I want to learn about restaurants. This is going to be our prompt, and let's see what this language tutor is going to give us. And the idea here is that this agent is going to teach us Italian from scratch, just as we've defined in the instructions, and it's going to do so related to restaurants. So if we take a quick look here, we can see that it starts with essential vocabulary, and it mentions several different words such as restaurant, menu, the check, and so forth. And then it evolves into putting these into actual phrases. We have always an English translation, such as I'd like a table for 2, please. And also the transliteration with the English equivalent of how to speak each word on this Italian phrase. And if we keep going here, we can see that this agent has provided quick grammar notes and even sample dialogue at the restaurant. So as you can see, this language tutor agent has provided us with several different possibilities to start learning Italian, and it has used this system prompt that we crafted, including these instructions and the list of best practices, to make this super rich, and even with some deeper strategies of how to learn these words, such as transliterations, and also by treating this step by step, because if we are a total beginner, we can stick with section 1, we can just practice this essential vocabulary, and then we can move on onto more elaborate phrases and situations as we progress. So this is an example of the basic configuration for our language learning agent, and in the next lessons we will be improving what we've built so far. Hey there, I hope you are enjoying and learning a lot from these lessons. And if you are, I would like to invite you to check out the interactive learning kit that accompanies this course. By purchasing this, you're not only supporting my work, you're also getting access to the interactive Tana workspace that you see in these videos with the commands, configurations, lesson material, and some extra benefits to help you learn faster and have a premium experience using Tana Commands. So check it out and learn more using the link in the description below or by scanning the QR code that you can see in your screen. Good learning, and I'll see you in the next lesson.